Welcome to Tales from the Drive-In. Grab some popcorn and tune in as we discuss the wondrous curiosities of the world on and off the screen. I'm your host, BJ Seura. I'm a filmmaker, paranormal enthusiast, and horror fanatic. Joining me today is fellow filmmaker, horror lover, and film festival volunteer, Jane Petruska. Today we will dive into all things film, cons, and reminisce about puppets. Come nerd out with us. No strings attached. All right. Welcome, Jane. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. It's really good to see you. It's so random how you and I met and how we continue to meet, right?
I know. Do you want to tell it or should I?
Yeah, you can. Go ahead. Because you recognized me. Usually I'm the person who recognizes the other person, but you recognized me right away. And I was like, oh, yeah. So, yeah.
And and I recognize people too, but usually I just will be like, I don't know if I say just work at a restaurant that I go to, so I don't know if I should say hi. But I knew it was you because I've only lived here in Colorado for, at the time that I recognized you, like a year. So, and I just don't really know anyone because I work from home. So I immediately knew that it was you. But anyway, so you and I met at Colorado Festival of Horror. Great festival. Are you going to volunteer this year?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Yeah. So we were both the handler, I guess, for this awesome guy named Kirk Thatcher. He was also amazing. So you did it on Friday.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I did it Saturday and Sunday. And then so BJ basically just came by the booth to say hi to Kirk on Saturday and Sunday. And that's when I got to meet him. Didn't see you basically for the rest of the festival, basically. Like you were just having fun and I was just sitting at the booth the whole time. Having so much fun, of course, with Kirk. He's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then so that was September. And then I think by October, I like to just go and PA, like just production assist on random sets. So I'll go on all those Denver Facebook pages and basically reach out to someone and be like, they'll always ask for background act or like true actors. And I'll email them and be like, I don't act, but can I please be a PA on your set? And usually they'll just be like, sure, like go ahead. It's not really what I'm asking for, but so I got to do it on this. I'm going to say her name. I hope she doesn't get upset.
Darielle.
Darielle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Darielle set. And basically, I didn't know anyone there because I'm new to Colorado at this point. Because then DJ walks in and I'm like, I know this man. And I immediately knew where you're from. And then, so yeah, it was nice to get to see him again. And that's kind of where we actually got to talk and kind of actually connect because we were together the entire day. You guys were there really late, right?
Yeah. So, there's a lot to unpack there, but yeah, we, that film set, like that day was really long and it was hard because they were trying to do a shot. There was like a one,
Yes.
a oneer, basically you're walking all the way around this house in one shot. And we were having technical difficulties with the gimbal and it just nothing was working and it was just a problem, right? And that's what happens on a lot of film sets. Like you'll have plans, you'll go into it with these plans and these ideas and you'll do all the prep and everything, and then once you get on there and try to actually do it, you just run into one problem after the other. And it was a stressful day, but I think I got more stressful obviously as it got later in the day. But that's kind of like all film sets. But I think in general the thing with that particular film set is, you know, they're great people and they work really hard and they do a really good job. The problem is just with the school, they're kind of under a time crunch, right? So
Mm-hmm.
at the Colorado Film School is where I met them, and that's where they all kind of did their stuff. And they have to get this film in, edited and turned in before the end of the semester to get, into the student show, or at least to be voted on to go into the student show. That's kind of how that works. And if they don't turn it in on time, then they can't get into the student show, even, if they've got voted in. And so, and yeah, and then on top of that, they're doing all their other classes, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. And then by the way, I've been on a lot of like film sets so far. Many have been great, but they were all the nicest, I would say. Like collectively, like 100% of them were nice. So a lot
right.
of other film sets that I'll be on, like I can pick and choose really awesome people, and then some people that I just don't like necessarily jive with, but they were great. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, and then so they're all there to help, like, for example, just her with hers, but then they all have their own too. So
Mm-hmm.
it's so much work because, yeah, they're doing classes. Some people are making their own, some people are helping people. So yeah, it's crazy, but very
Well,
talented.
yeah. And Dariel's boyfriend, Russ, he was doing
Mm-hmm.
a documentary right after that. And I helped him with that one. And so, yeah, it was, it was a lot of filming. And I did sound on both of those. And it was fun. It was fun to be able to work on a set doing something that I like. I like running sound. I like, walking around with the boom. I like, putting lavs on people and, just making sure everything sounds great and being able to use the equipment that I've kind of collected over the years since film school's gotten out. And, yeah, so I think the filmmaking is fun, right? Like, I think that's why you are into it, right? Like,
Yeah.
what is it about filmmaking that you're just so drawn to?
I've just always wanted to work in the film industry. I didn't go to film school, but I just always really liked it. And I've never really known what I wanted to do basically. But I'm just kind of at the point where I'm like, you only have this one life. At least make it a hobby if you
Yeah.
can't get paid for it necessarily. So that's kind of just what I'm doing right now. I will say so I've worked on, or I've volunteered at film festivals. I've, I've, I don't do it a lot, but I've acted, and then I've done like PA stuff on sets. And I've also done marketing
Mm-hmm.
for like movies. And I would say my favorite part so far is the film festival stuff. So I'm
Nice.
thinking maybe less like production based and more kind of working behind the scenes at a film festival. I think maybe that is the area I want to go. And I never ever would have chose that. So I'm glad that I tried everything. But
I
yeah,
th-
it's just so fun and everyone's so nice. I don't really know why I like it. I've just always liked it from the time I knew that I was alive, basically.
I love that you said that, with the film festival stuff, because when I first met you, at the Colorado Festival of Horror, like that was something that it was my first year doing it, and the community there, I just kind of fell in love with everything that was there, right? Like
Yeah.
it wasn't like it wasn't like crowded, but it was,
Yeah.
there was
Yeah.
definitely enough of people to make it like a lot of fun, and they had so many cool events, so many cool things to do. And like you and I, we got to hang out with Kirk Thatcher, and like that dude, like I just want to talk about him for a minute because he's so fun, he's so funny. He does,
Yeah.
his energy, his jokes, his voices that he does, right? Super talented. If people don't know who Kirk Thatcher is, he worked on so many like Muppet movies.
Yeah.
Um, he was the punk
He,
on the bus in the Star Trek 4, and then the new Picard. Like he was in the new movie. What was that?
Werewolf by Night.
Or yeah, or yep. And
Yeah.
then yeah, and that was
The
only a
Marvel
one.
movie.
One kind of one shot deal. It wasn't like a series or anything, but I wish
Yeah.
it could have been. Or, but yeah. So yeah, I think I felt bad because I wanted to be with him for another 1 or 2 days, but I'm glad he had you because
Yeah.
because you're pretty
No, I
awesome.
stole them
And
from you. Sorry.
yeah, I go over there, I see you guys having a good time. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm a nobody. Just cast me aside and he'll never remember
every
me.
time, every time you walk by, we just laugh louder and we turn away.
That's funny.
I'm kidding. No, he would do that to be funny because he's hilarious.
Yeah,
He's a
no.
funny
And
dude.
yeah, and it's so crazy. Like I didn't even realize some of the stuff that he had done that like the dinosaurs TV show. Like for
Yeah,
me, yeah, I grew up with that show and I had no idea that like he was the main guy for that.
yeah. And for me, with him, it was Muppet Treasure Island. He co-wrote that.
Yep.
I love that movie. I've loved that movie since. I mean, I have it on whatever VHS. It's still probably at my parents' house. I would watch it all the time.
That's
It was that
awesome.
and Muppet Christmas Carol, but I don't think he worked on that. But those two are like amazing. And the songs on Muppet Treasure Island,
Mm-hmm.
I like still sing them some, especially the cabin fever one because like I work from home and I'm like cabin fever, like you need to get out of your house. So
That's funny. So you
yeah,
have an
yeah,
attachment to that. So you
very much so.
start you
Yeah,
start hallucinating, and then you
mm-hmm.
start seeing people in Muppet form.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh my god, I need to go get dinner. Like I need to leave my house. I need to go to the gym, do something. Yeah.
Right. Do you like so obviously you like Muppets and stuff. Have you like I think so I've done a couple of short films with a puppet called Gloria. And one of my friends, he is a filmmaker also at the film school, and we kind of did a couple of things together, a couple of 48-hour film projects. Those you get 48 hours to
Oh
make a
yeah.
film. Yeah, those are it's fun. It's a fun exercise, but it's crazy because you don't have time. Like it's just your rush, 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 rush. Like they give you these prompts that you have to do. Like you have to say a certain line of dialogue, you have to have a character name, a certain prop, and then they give you two genres to choose from when you pick out of a hat, and then you have to make it all and turn it in 2 days.
Is that so you can't just make a movie and then just turn it in? Like it's so they know that you've made it in 2 hours?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I
Well,
didn't
not
know
2 hours,
that.
48
Or I'm
hours.
sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
2 days,
Yeah,
2 hours.
yeah, because again, I mean, that's what they say. I mean, and that makes sense, right? Because that way that you're not cheating, you're not coming up with these things and being like, oh yeah, we did this in 2 days, and in actuality, you did it like over a month or something.
Yeah,
But
no, I feel like half the people would do that if that wasn't the case. I don't know why I didn't think there was any rules. I've
yeah,
clearly
yeah, there's
never seen that.
it's pretty fun. I mean, if I do another one, like you definitely have to join in on it. But yeah, it's crazy because again, you're writing a script like that night, Friday night, and then Saturday you're filming, and then Sunday you're editing and turning it in. So in most short films, you shouldn't do it that way, right? You have to
No.
put pre-production and all of that first for a while, and then you have to scout your locations and all of this stuff, get actors. And so for the festival, for the 48 hour, it's quick. It's like you just got to have all that stuff already picked out. Like you have to have your actors picked out, basically. You have to
Mm-hmm.
have a location picked out, and then just kind of make it work. So
I know you were going to say something about Gloria, but I saw a 72-hour. So I'll let you do that. But I saw a 72-hour film festival, and they
that
filmed it in front of RTD. Is that the train that goes through Denver?
yeah.
And they got it perfectly to where the train was coming. A lady was sitting on the bench. A train was coming, and then he got off, and they sat down, and they had a really short conversation. One was facing the parking lot and one was facing the train. So it was a camera shot from both angles. And they got it to where their whole conversation happened before the train left in real time. It was
Really?
the craziest thing I've ever seen because it happened in 72 hours. So they obviously didn't have that much time to film it. And then I think everything was done in one shot. It was
That's
strangely fast.
yeah. No, that's how. I mean, how do you have a conversation? Like it's like maybe a
Yeah, it
few
was
minutes,
like
right?
exactly, and it was like kind of like a spy thing. So like, here's your mission. So it's supposed to be short, but it was crazy.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, those are it's fun exercises, and I mean obviously for me I would definitely want to take more time with stuff, but it is fun. I mean, cuz again, maybe the quality isn't going to be that best, but also it's like how do you work under pressure? And some people thrive on that. Like I do mostly writing stuff, and that is not going to work for me cuz I need to take time with with the script and have it not be trash and
Yeah, or like have like words missing, stuff like that. Like I just, yeah, writing is hard to do in semi-jar.
Have you done any? Have you thought about doing any writing, any kind of film stuff?
Absolutely not.
No, not even like a Muppet like short. Like I think, right? I don't know. It's I guess like I'm going to do and I've been thinking about this for a long time, but with Gloria, short, but like a vampire short with Gloria, and it'll be kind
With the
of like
Muppet?
yeah.
I love it. I think you should.
Yeah, so it's going to be kind of a spoof of Fright Night. Have you ever seen Fright Night?
No, I haven't.
So that's on the list. You have to get it on your list. It's a great
Great.
movie.
Yeah.
It's they did a remake as well, but the original is always the best. But yeah, it's basically about a vampire who lives next door in a suburban area, and this kid finds out, and he's trying to convince everybody that they live next to a vampire, and nobody believes him, and so like yeah, that's what I want to do, but instead of a guy vampire, it's a puppet vampire named Gloria, and that whole thing. So
I think you should write it and shoot it. I think you should, because I'm not going to be writing anything, so you need to write it. No,
well
yeah, I hate writing. I'm
well, I told Kirk about it and he liked it, and I told him that I was gonna I haven't had time, but I'm gonna write it, and he said he would give me notes. So if anybody is good to
yeah,
give notes, right, get notes from is the guy who
who works in
co-wrote.
Hollywood.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, yeah, and just
And
so
yeah, and who
cool.
wrote a Muppet movie? Literally. Yeah.
It was fun. Like I don't know if you talked to him about filmmaking at all, but he talked to me a little bit about the how hard it is to act with Muppets, and like what you're trying to get them to do. It's like, well, you can only do so much because they're got to move. There's a person underneath them. Like you
Exactly.
can't do these intricate. You can do a lot, which they do, and it's amazing, phenomenal. But it's also like if you write something, you got to keep that in mind that they can't be doing all these crazy things if you don't have a plan for it.
Yeah, and now that you're saying that, I'm thinking, I'm like, even just writing in like a Muppet, like putting their head on their hands and like pondering, if the Muppets are not like, if they don't have like maybe like anything stiff in the arms and it's just kind of like flops around, it's like you can't do that. So you really have to kind of write more than do like body language stuff too. Now I'm going to analyze the Muppet movie that I watched next week. What are they doing other than just like hopping around?
You should,
That's
because
so, yeah,
yeah,
that's so interesting. I'm going to write a dissertation for the school that I'm not in about that.
that would
I'm
be
just going to turn it in.
oh
People are going to be like,
that would
you
be
go here?
you could write about anything you want in a dissertation, right? Like it could be
Yeah.
about anything. So like the intricacies of puppeteering, like that's
Yeah. And
great.
I mean, I can get Kirk to be, I've never written a dissertation, but like a good, like verified source.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like
I won't even
primary
have to
source.
do
Yeah.
like research online. I can just
Mm-mm.
go to the man himself.
Right. Yeah, and it's great. Like see him on like Instagram and all the things that he gets up to, and so
Yeah.
it's good.
Remember when he was here and he was telling me that he loves like tiki bars.
hmm
So I feel like, I don't know, if he ever comes back, I'm like, I'll bring you to a tiki bar. I don't mind.
Right. Yeah. I
If
think
you'll go, like, why not?
right. Yeah, that would be cool. I hope. I mean, I don't know if he'll be another if he'll come back again. That would be awesome, because that's the thing with those festivals. You know, you never know who's going to come by and how often that they can come by and all of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you want to do, though, right? Like, have you tried to reach out to the festival people and be like, "Hey, I want to do more than what I was doing. Like, I want to be more involved."
So I haven't reached out to like Brett specifically, but I feel like that would probably be a good idea because I know that they're like a smaller festival. I just don't know if they need the help. But yeah, that's what I would want to do. And I would love to, I don't even know what this job is, but to be or like to get celebrities to sign on to festivals. That would be
Right.
really fun. Kind of like not influencer type stuff, but something like that. And then to answer your question, if I'm doing other stuff at the festivals, I am doing, so usually I just will volunteer,
Mm-hmm.
but for Boulder International Film Festival, I'm on their social media team. So it's like my first kind of like actual, it's not like a job, it's like a volunteer position, but it's more of just, it's more than just, oh, you'll go here, like
Yeah.
go open wine for people and pour it, which again is so fun to do at a film festival because you're kind of just going for free. You like
Yeah.
volunteer for a few hours and then you get to go have fun. But with Boulder International Film Festival, I'm actually going to be doing some social media stuff now, so I'm really excited.
Yeah. Congrats. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome. That'll be so much fun. I'm
yeah,
I would love to get more involved with that, because that was the thing with the film school. They a lot of the film school kids, they did that to different festivals. Like, I missed out. I was so mad. Like, they did one event at Red Rocks for Stevie Wonder. So Stevie Wonder was there and performed, and they all got to see him for free. Like, I was so mad
when
because
was this?
it was years ago. So it was probably like it was. I think it was pre-COVID. But yeah, I was so upset because I mean, there's like $300 tickets to just to go, and all these guys got to go in for free, right? And I just I hadn't signed up and hadn't done the work to be part of that group at that time. But then they told me, I was like, oh my god, I'm like, are you guys kidding me? Like, that's an all timer right there. But that's
Yeah,
the fun, right? Like, you get to do all kinds of fun things, meet all kinds of cool people. And would
it's
you want to do
amazing.
more like horror stuff, or are you just interested in it all?
When it comes to film festivals, I'm genuinely open to any genre, but horror is my favorite genre of watching movies. So I guess if I were to like work on a film set, I would want to do a scary movie. Or if I were to act, I'm not a big actor. I don't think I'm that good. I'm a little uncomfortable acting, but I would act in a scary movie. I don't know.
Yes,
They're so fun. It's the best genre. It is.
it really is. There's just it's so entertaining, and then to make one, and then to watch it, and then to watch other people's work, and to be in that community of just everybody has their own perspective, everybody loves it for different reasons, and it's just fun to just be part of it, right?
Yeah. And it's almost kind of, I guess like a film festivals are kind of almost like being at a summer camp in a sense. It's very, or like being on a cruise. It's a very fun time. So being at a horror film festival is kind of like going to Halloween Horror Nights. It's very
Yes.
fun. Yeah. So it's a
um
really good time.
have you thought about doing Telluride?
I would love to, but I just haven't gotten around to it just because everything I do is kind of in town. So it's really easy to do it for free because you just volunteer your time and day, but you're not really like spending a lot of money. So
Right.
I'm,
Right.
yeah. So if I would do Telluride, I would want to like almost save beforehand.
Yeah.
Um, or I know that there's a lot of people who will let you like stay with them for free at Sundance. I'm not sure if Telluride has that same vibe, but yeah, I would love to. It would be amazing.
I met a so the I don't know if you met um I had so the people that were sitting next to us that at the did you so the Christina Bergling, she was sitting next to us when she for I forget his name with the Final Destination.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. She was at his booth.
Yeah, so she was the handler for him. I don't know if she did it for all of the days, but I met her, and I've actually had her on this podcast a couple of times already. And
Mm,
and her friend Eva and one of their other friends, Quinn, he's like a paranormal investigator, but they go to Telluride every single year. And so they make a trip out of it. Like they all stay together,
yeah,
they all right. Like, and I feel like that's the way to do it. Like if you're gonna go, like have a bunch of people, you guys can all throw in on a place together. And yeah, they love it. They what they do is they'll go hiking like the day before or whatever, and then because obviously they're going to be watching a lot of films, so you're
yeah,
sitting around a lot. But yeah, that's on my list for sure. I think that would be so much fun.
yeah. And that's a good thing about doing these film festivals and working on sets. Especially, I've only been in Colorado for a year and a half at this point. Is like I get to make film friends that will do that with me eventually.
Yes,
I get to
yes.
harass people into being like, come to Telluride, spend $500 on an Airbnb ticket. They're like,
Yes,
okay, I
harass
like this one
away.
too.
Yes, and again, I obviously know people that are into that too, and that also go and from the film school too. They all do it too, and it's more just I need to get off my butt and get out there myself too. And so, but yeah, I mean, I think that would be a lot of fun. And I
Yeah.
haven't. That's the thing. Like I haven't seen a lot of the newer short horror films. I tend to be such a big fan of like 80s 90s horror, that kind of thing. And so it's I'm moving more towards watching more current stuff just because there's a lot of good filmmakers out there, and there's a lot of good stuff, and I need to get myself out there more with that.
Yeah. There, every once in a while, I'll just sit down on YouTube and there's a lot of very, very new, um, like horror shorts.
Hmm.
And they're really well produced. And like sometimes, like, very famous actors will be in them. So I just need to do my research more. But I'm like, is there a really good film festival where it's all horror shorts? Because if that exists, that is kind of what I'll spend my money on before I'll do Telluride. Does that make sense? Like to volunteer, I would almost like go out there for
Right.
free if that exists. So I just need to do my research. But if I find out, I will tell you.
Yeah, and I know Telluride. That's what it is, right? It is a horror festival, and it's like the biggest one
Oh, you're
in
right.
Colorado. So,
I'm.
but I mean,
You're
they'll
right.
have
I'm.
no.
I
You're
didn't know
good.
that.
No, yeah, that's what it is. Like there, that's what Telluride is. But there's other ones like even like the Colorado Festival of Horror. They show some short films as well. So there's options, and obviously there's just going to be more as time goes on, and obviously the community keeps growing. But speaking of horror stuff, and this being partially a horror podcast,
Yes.
wanted to get into your horror stuff, your likes.
Sure.
Yeah, because um, there's so many questions, and it's a good way to get to know people, I think, right?
Hmm.
Just where their horror fan like where their fandom came from, right? And
Yes.
what kind of films they like. And so yeah, so I just start out with a question. Who influenced your love for horror movies? Like when did you like first start watching it, and who was behind it?
Okay. So I started watching scary movies like from, I don't even remember when. It was that young. I would say my grandma really influenced me. Like she would sit down and watch lots of scary movies with me. She just, she kind of just saw what I could handle, and sometimes I couldn't handle them. But majority of them I could. And then basically I moved to Florida when I was 7, and my childhood best friend growing up, literally next door neighbor, right next door, she loved scary movies too. So I would always just go to her house and sleep over, and we would just watch every scary movie known to man. I'm not kidding. And
That's
they never bothered me really when I was young, except like one or two. The older I get, the scarier they get, the more they affect me. But I would say my grandma and then my childhood best friends, they
that's
really
so
influenced
funny.
me. Yes,
Your grandma
I know.
sounds really really cool. Because
Yes.
yeah, I don't know. I don't think my grandma would ever like let me watch a scary movie, let alone like be down like, hey, let's watch some scary movies.
I
Do
know.
you
And my
remember any
poor
of them?
parents. Okay, so I remember really like we would watch. I think Boogie. Like the ones that I remember is, I mean, really all like so many of them. But Boogeyman, I remember really scared me, and then I also remember Night of the Living Dead really
Ooh.
scared me. And I think that's because for a while zombies were my biggest fear, and I think that's kind of when that started. Thank you, Grandma. Um, but it, it's that scene where where like the daughter is like killing her mom with an axe. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm saying the right
Yeah.
one. There's so many movies. I think it's the old one, Night of the Living Dead. Barbara, that one.
So there's Night of the Living Dead, then there's like Return of the Living Dead, and like there's a bunch of them, right? So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
the
like,
OG one.
mm-hmm. So yeah,
Yeah,
I mean that's tragic, right? Like I feel like those types of horror are the worst because it's like your family members are turning into these mindless animals and you
but
have to take care of them.
yeah, and it's like the whole thing because it was like her daughter was a zombie. Her daughter was like a child. So obviously she was taking care of this. This had all happened in one night from my memory. Night of the Living Dead was like kind of a night. So she didn't really know what was going on. So she just kind of had her in the basement. But the funniest part of that movie is I think it's so funny when zombies, because to me it's kind of like an animal, like you're just going to attack. But it's so funny to me when people write zombies to like almost be evil. And she like picks up an axe and starts hacking her. And I'm like, a zombie wouldn't do that. And there's a weird scene, or not a weird scene, a weird movie, 28 Weeks Later. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember how weirdly evil the zombie dad is to the mom? Do you remember that? No.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the one. Yes, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um that one because it was about the little girls and their family, right? And then like kind of basically unleashing everything and then
Yeah. It was
mhm,
like, yeah, it was like sorry, I'm going to ruin a bunch of movies for everyone. So
it's all good.
exit out now if you want. No, but 28 weeks later, it starts off where like they're hiding from all these zombies. The guy like leaves his wife, like she's like yelling for him, and he basically is like, "Fuck you!" Like I've
See you
never
later.
seen someone so evil in my life. And then he like gets on the boat. He's like, he clearly hated his wife, and then she ends up being alive somehow, and she like they take her into this facility where like a lot of humans are safe. And then the zombie, the evil zombie dad, he turns into a zombie, and he comes back and he like brutally murders his alive wife. I don't know.
Yep.
Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but I was like,
No,
this
you're
is
remembering it right.
strange. Yeah, like
Yeah,
the details of this.
it was messed up. It was very messed up. Yeah, like that was the first thing I thought of too. Like when he just pieced out, he's like, "See you later," and then the kids like when it's like when they're all in the compound or whatever, and they're like,
Yeah.
if there's this kind of this unspoken thing between them. It's like, oh, it's sad, and you can tell he feels guilty, but then well, the thing was, I think she had the virus, right? But she wasn't, but
Yeah.
she didn't get sick or whatever. Like she
Yeah.
was
She like
just
didn't
transmitting
turn.
it. Yeah, she was just and then she transmitted it to him, and then he just basically brutally killed her, and then just kind of they killed everybody, right?
Oh yeah. The whole
But
movie is in shambles. Apparently they're making a new one. So I'll
I
watch
liked
it.
I liked 28 Days Later. I think that one was my favorite one out of them. Did you ever see
I've
that
never
one?
seen it. No, I've only
Oh,
watched the second one, which is weird, but
no, I mean it's they're kind of self-contained. I mean, the first one I think for me is it's more it's not as big. It surrounds fewer characters and it's very very tragic. I'm not going to give anything away, but it definitely there's a sense of just claustrophobia and just
ooh,
disease and like family, and it's considered one of the better zombie movies. But I grew up a big zombie fan, like um like Shaun of the Dead, right? It's a
mm-hmm.
comedy zombie movie, which is great. And then obviously like Dawn of the Dead was kind of a newer one that I really liked, and then
Yes.
Return of the Living Dead. And there's so many. I mean, even the Walking Dead TV show, it was good for a while, and then it kind of went downhill for me anyway.
I
But
think I muted myself. Sorry. Yeah, no, I agree. It was so good at first, and then God, people are gonna hate me. If you haven't seen the show, I'm sorry. Anyway, when Lori died, it got really bad. Do you want me to stop ruining every?
no, you're good. No, no. I think, and here's the thing, like spoiler stuff, like if a movie or a TV show has been out for a while, like 10 years
Yeah,
or more or something, or even less than that, like even 5 years, it's fine. Like, I don't think anybody's going to be upset. And
yeah, and
most people that are fans or that are listening, that they'll have watched all of those things probably. Right.
yes,
So
and yeah, I mean, I don't want spoilers either, but like that detail out of a whatever 100 season show is not like it's not going to ruin anyone's day. Still watch the
no.
show up until that point. I'm kidding. Watch the whole show if you want. It's fine, but
Yeah. So other than zombies, are there any other types of horror movies that, I mean, obviously they're not like maybe your favorite. What is your favorite type of horror?
oh my gosh, I don't really have one. There's some movies that I really can't watch. Like I'm such a fan, but I've never seen I'm such a fan of the genre, but I've
Mm-hmm.
never seen any of the Saw movies because
Uh,
I just don't really love gore. I love Eli Roth, but I don't really want to watch Hostel. There's just some stuff where I just
like,
trust people if they're like, you won't like it because of this. And I'm like, you know what? I trust you.
yeah, I mean, I'm not really big into the torture porn is what they call it, right? That kind of stuff.
Like Human Centipede, I'm not going to watch that. No, I'm good. I'm good.
I did watch it. Um, I wasn't.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
it's you. You don't have to watch that one. You get what it is. Like when somebody tells you what it is, then it's fine. You're like, oh, okay, I understand. I don't need to watch that, and you
Yeah, I
don't.
don't need the visual of what you just told me that movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, obviously everybody has different tastes, and some people love that. Like one of the girls on the Weld County Paranormal, she absolutely loves all the Saw movies, like to a degree that it's like it's crazy. Like it's she's awesome though, but I actually just sent her. It's been a while, but I think it's coming up soon. Actually, there's in Greeley or in northern Colorado, they're doing a Saw musical.
What? I want to watch that.
See, so I think like that, like I think I'd be down to see something like that. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, and
So
it's like I've heard that Saw has such a good actual story.
right.
So maybe I'll just kind of like fucking get it together and watch it.
Yeah. I
Like put
mean,
on
the
my
first
big girl
one,
pants.
absolutely. Watch that first one. Like I think for me, I mean, you don't have to watch any of the other ones. Even if you just watch that first one, then you'll be like, "Oh yeah, this is solid."
You think like that first one is gonna just make me just dive into the other ones? Is that what you mean? Or
I
are
don't
you
know
just
if
saying that the first one is only the only good one?
for me, I think it will make you want to watch the other ones, but I think the first one's so good that it's kind of stands on its own, right? It's not one of those movies that's like okay and then they make a bunch of okay movies after that. Like it's very
Mm-hmm.
good. Like the way I'm not going to give it away. It's just you have to watch it just to see just for yourself. There's a lot of good writing and just the way it was done. It's never been done before the way it was done. That's all I'll say.
Okay, I have my list that you've already said. Friday Night, 28 Days Later, and Saw One. So I have some
Yes,
three so far.
those are yes, that's a good list.
That is a good
Um
list.
so speaking of other lists here, thinking about different other scary movies stuff, what do you think, and this is a question I ask all of my guests, like if you could spend a day or a week in the world of a horror film, what would it be and why?
I thought about this a lot. I and this is my favorite franchise. Okay, I think Scream. It's
Oh,
not that hard. I'm not like being fun about this. I'm being serious about this. Like
no,
I
be
didn't pick like a
completely
funny
serious.
answer.
No,
But
no, no.
like they tell you how to stay alive. Okay? Just do like a sober October for like 2 weeks. Ghostface is constantly dead within 2 weeks. He's not around for 6 months, like lurking. It's always just like someone in the town. Sydney's never, when she comes back, she's not there for 6 months. She's like there for a week max. So yeah, just like don't go to any parties. Stop drinking. Like if your family goes to dinner, go with them. Like don't be home alone. It's the easiest. It's so easy to stay alive. Like don't be too nerdy, but don't be too mean. You're fine. You're
No
literally
sex
fine.
though. That sucks.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Celibacy for a month, whatever, 2 weeks max. Yeah. Yeah. And then like also just like buy a gun
Buy a
just in
gun.
case.
Yeah.
You're set. It's the easiest. Has anyone ever given this answer before? It's kind of a boring answer, but
No, that's a great answer. It's not that. It's more on the other podcast that I am on, Three Haunted Podcast, if people aren't
mm-hmm.
aware. John Thomas is one of the hosts, and that is his all-time favorite franchise as well. Like he has pictures with everybody from that movie,
I'm so
from all the
jealous.
movies. Yeah, yeah, and you and him would have a lot to talk about, but
And
yeah,
he
I
would
think
hate my opinions on it.
no, no, no,
I know he
no.
would. He would.
I like your
I have some
Go ahead.
unpopular opinions on the Scream movies, but
Oh,
I'm still up for the
that they are
chance.
bad or what?
No, that like yeah, it's my favorite franchise, but the first time I ever watched any of them was 2020. Like so recently. So I do feel like people who have been around in the franchise for a long time, who've been a fan, are like, you can't have these bad opinions because you're a new fan. But I think I think that the new ones, the ones not by Wes Craven, I think they're really good.
Yeah,
And I honestly think that the sixth one is like not the best one, but it's definitely the second best one.
I
So
I
a real
think
Scream fan would hate me.
no, I think you can. It doesn't matter when you watch the films, right? Because again, you're watching them, right? It doesn't matter if you grew up watching them or if you just watched them for the first time, a few years ago, right? Like that's fine. Like sometimes I love my favorite thing to do is to watch movies with people who have never seen them before. Like I've seen them, but then they haven't, because
Yeah.
it's a way for me to rediscover it like for the first time, right, through their eyes, like living vicariously through these people, and I think that's fun.
Yeah. 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 And it's like, okay, so I would, if I could spend a day or week in any franchise, it would be Scream because I think it would be easy to stay alive. That's my reasoning.
Well, who would you
But if
be?
I
Would
would
you be
just be
yourself, or
so.
would you want to be like a character in?
No, if my one goal is to stay alive, I'm just like, for example, I'm just like a student at the college or like a student at the high school. Like that is it. I am not a main character at all.
But you want to be around to kind of see what's going on with
Yeah. It's like a
everybody.
car crash. It's like, oh my God, what's happening? You know, it doesn't involve you, but you're gonna look. Yeah.
Right. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then
they shouldn't have had sex. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, they shouldn't have had sex. I don't know why they were alone when a serial killer's around.
Right.
They should have been asleep before it got dark. There's just so many ways to survive.
Yeah. Yeah, if that's the goal, right? Like if it's the goal to survive.
Yeah,
But also if you think about it too, it's not the questions not necessarily for also survival, but also just the people that are the characters that are there, right? Like would you want to be
yeah,
friends with these people, right? Just to get to know them, like be in
for
that kind of
sure.
world, right? The music, that just that whole atmosphere.
Yeah, I love like all things 90s. So if I'm thinking about like Scream 1, oh my, and I just love like Sydney. She's like the best character ever. So yeah, no, I would want to be like I guess class friends with Sydney. So I wasn't too close. Like, like maybe at the party that they left when like the host kicked them out. Friends, but not enough to be in danger, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you're like the one, maybe the voice of reason, but like you're also the one that goes home early, and then it's
Exactly.
right.
Randy. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Even though he died, but sorry if
Yeah,
I'm ruining
and
this for anyone.
but also, I mean, a lot of people love Randy. Like, I thought he was a little annoying, but I get it. Like, I get the love for Randy. Um,
He's the best.
yeah, and he was great. I went to Comic Con this past year, or Fan Expo is what they call it in Denver.
I
But
went to
he,
Fan Expo.
oh yeah, were you able to see the Scream panel?
No, I wasn't able to see the Scream panel. I was on Nev Campbell's line the entire 2 days.
That's amazing. So,
I have a picture with her and Rose McGowan.
so wait, were you with her?
So yeah, so basically, did you work it or did you just go?
I just went. I was just a fan.
So yeah, so basically you just like stood on their line and I got so lucky because basically we were just passing down like the row of the most famous people I've ever seen in one room. Chevy Chase, like just everyone you can think of that you've seen
Yes.
in TV was like in that room. It was crazy, huge room. Um, but I wanted to be on one of the Scream cast because that's the reason I went.
Oh
Like I
yeah.
was like, so they basically we all just walked down and they're like, who wants to be on this panel? And my hand just shot up fast enough for Nav Campbell, and so I got to be there for 2 days straight and just like look at her, and it was the coolest thing on the planet. I was so happy. I couldn't even believe it. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
Amazing.
she's definitely one of those people that I would love to meet and just talk to, and just just see what she's like, even for like 5 minutes, right? Like
Yeah,
that's one
very nice.
thing. Yeah, because she's iconic. Like she's one of the scream queens of like best, scream queens of all time. Like she's just, oh, it sucks that they didn't, the whole Scream franchise is moving on without her, you know. So
Yeah,
that's but they need to pay her. Like if they want her, they should pay
yeah.
her. Like there's a
Well,
simple solution to that. Just give her what she deserves and make the story that includes her. But yeah.
yeah. And it's like, yeah, she wasn't in Scream 6, whatever. I loved it. Someone can argue with me all day. She didn't really have a place in it.
Right.
Um, the way that they wrote it, truly, I can't even imagine her being in it. But now, I don't know if you're hearing all this stuff about, I don't know how, like, I'm very into it. So all this stuff about Scream 7 is like the director's off, like the main character, Sam, was fired, Jenna Ortega's gone.
Yep.
Like, I'm going to ruin Scream 6, everyone, real quick. you want to leave? We don't know if Gail's alive. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just, sorry if I ruined that for you.
Yeah,
But,
there's a lot going on with that one.
and I'm like, don't make it. Like, as big as a fan as I am, I'm just like, don't make it. A new director, what? All new characters? Like, we don't need it. I don't know. That's my
Yeah.
opinion.
I don't know what they're going to do with that franchise. I mean, for me, obviously, like I'm a fan of it and I've watched all of them and I like them. Obviously, for me, it's, the first and the second, or I think for me are the best, but also they did when with, Jenna Ortega and then the new cast, I thought that was good as well. But it's also like, where are you going to go from here? What direction are you going to go? And I don't know. It's not comforting is what I'll
No.
say. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's pretty depressing, but I'm also like, we don't need to beat a dead horse. Like, I hate remakes in Hollywood. So let's just not make it. It's fine. If it's not
yeah.
going to be good, don't ruin the franchise. Seriously, don't ruin it. Yeah.
So that's good. I'm glad you answered like a lot of the questions that I've already asked. Like, what's your favorite franchise and all of that. So that's
Yeah.
great. No, it's great, and
Oh,
yeah, there's a lot of good ones
it's
out
so
there.
good.
Like, there's so many different types of horror, right? Like, I've been getting more into the supernatural ones lately, like the paranormal ghost stuff, that kind of thing. Or just like cryptids and things like that. Like, I don't even know if you would call the Mothman Prophecies a horror, more like a thriller kind of type of movie. But yeah, do you like any of those movies or any of the movies that are like The Conjuring or any like Poltergeist or anything like that? Are you into those?
Yeah. I actually think for a while, The Conjuring 2, this is kind of back when it came out, but was one of the scariest movies I had ever seen. And I really liked it. I mean, a lot of people will say like it's gone on too long, the Conjuring series, and I get that, but I think they're good movies. Yeah,
Yeah.
Poltergeist is great too. Um, I mean, my favorite scary movie of all time though is Hereditary.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
Oh,
not even because it was that good, but because it scared me the most. Like it was, I feel like it had, like my heart was just pounding out of my chest in the scene where she bites it, like it was
yeah.
horrible, so scary.
They did such a good job with that and the sound effects, right? With when the little girl, she does that sound, right?
Oh
And
yeah,
and then you hear it after she's, after what happens to her, and you're like, oh God. And like, just to hear that little sound created so much like fear for people, right? They did a great job
yeah.
with that. And yeah, it's a good one. I really like that one too. Midsummer is again another kind of like a similar, like same creators, right? Did you
Yeah,
like that one?
I really like Ari Aster, who made both of those. Hereditary is the best. Midsummer was amazing. And then he just made this new one called Beau is Afraid. That was a trip to watch. Have you seen that?
I haven't. No.
It's not really scary. It's kind of like a dark comedy.
Okay.
My son was like, "Should I smoke before I watch this?" I'm like, "You don't need to. You don't need to. It's confusing enough.
That's
You should actually
funny.
be sober going in. I don't even think you should have a drink because I was like so excited because I love Ari Aster, and I went to see it. I think like the day it came out in theaters, and it was it's a lot. It's the weirdest movie I've ever seen,
That's awesome.
ever.
I'm down for it. Like, I like weird. Like, let's get weird, right? Like, especially in horror, because there are a lot of
Yeah,
80s ones that are really weird too, that you're just like, where did this come from? Like, what were you guys on when you made
yeah,
this?
yeah, yeah.
But
I want you to watch Beau is Afraid, and then like text me and tell me if there's any of those 80 movies that are weirder, and I will watch it immediately because
Yes.
it was crazy.
Okay. I'm gonna have to look and do some research on the weirdest horror movies that I've ever seen. Cause yeah, well, actually I just saw one and it's terrible. Like the quality and everything, it's definitely a B or C or whatever D movie. But the Velocipaster, have you heard of that?
No, I'm writing it
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. So
Velocipaster.
Velocipaster about
Is it new?
this. I mean, it's been out for a little while. It's not super old. But yeah, it's basically about this pastor who can change into a velociraptor and fights crime or whatever. Like it's
Is it like Sharknado scary, or is it scarier than that?
no, it's not scary at all. It's
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's it's just ridiculous. It's exactly how like if you think about it for a minute, you're like, yeah, I don't know how this movie could be anything. You can't take it serious
I'm
at
watching
all.
it. That sounds
Yeah,
amazing.
but it's bad. I mean, it's not like I wouldn't say it's good quality either. Like the movie poster is way better than the actual movie.
I'm gonna look it up the second we get
Oh,
home.
yeah, it's a crazy one.
Oh
Um
my gosh.
is there so as far as scary movies, what is you said what was the scariest and all of that? What was the most entertaining? Is there one that you can think of that was the most entertaining scary movie that you've seen, but that's obviously maybe not your favorite, but like just
Hmm.
you just if you see it, you're watching it.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't say it's necessarily like the most entertaining, but if I see it, I'm watching it. Is a show called Midnight Mass on Netflix. Have you watched it?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, that's a good one.
I this is like, yeah, Hereditary is my favorite movie. I love Scream. This might be my favorite media ever. I watched it, and then I watched it probably 3 or 4 more times in a row after. And then I became obsessed with Mike Flanagan, who created it.
hmm
And then he ended up, him, his wife, who, like, you know, her name is Kate Flanagan. Oh, no, Kate Siegel. And then do you remember, like, the evil, like, redhead lady in Midnight Mass?
Yes, I think so.
All three of them went to the Stanley Hotel. So me and my boyfriend like went, and we went to go see them, and then we got to watch Doctor Sleep because he made Doctor Sleep, which is the second Shining movie, and we got to watch
Yes.
the second Shining movie in the Stanley Hotel, and it was the best night ever. But yeah, Midnight Mass is like one of those things where I kind of have it memorized at this point, and I don't care. Like, I'll watch it.
That's so cool. I'm
Yeah,
yeah, I can't believe you got to do that at the Stanley. That's super cool. Like
it was so fun. It
oh,
was
so
so fun.
I am also a big Mike Flanagan fan, but not for Midnight Mass. I love The Haunting of Hill House. So, like for me,
Yeah.
The Haunting of Hill House just blew me away. And every Halloween or October, I'm watching it. It's for me, it was like one of the best series I've ever seen. It just hits you in so many ways. For me personally, the relationships with the brother, with the sister, the family, the acting, the
Mhm.
story, just everything about it for me, the sleep paralysis, all of it. I was just blown away. And then the fall of the house of Usher, that was
Ooh,
so
loved
good
it.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think I was
Yeah.
gonna like it. Like when I first started watching, I'm like, oh no, like because I don't know. It's you don't like the characters, and that's kind of the
No.
point, right? The characters are terrible people.
Horrible. I
And
know.
you're like, do I really want to watch this about these horrible people? And then when you get through it and you're like, actually, I do kind of want to see what bad things happen to these people.
That that show, like the first death was shocking to me. I was like, oh my gosh. But I remember laughing so hard at that show. Do you remember? Okay, you know the lady with the red hair, and she's like presenting.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I met her. I'll like send you pictures of her.
Oh, you mean
She's great.
no, you didn't.
Yes.
You know. So Carla
No,
Gugino?
no, 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 no. So Carla Gugino like is like imitating her. She's one of the kids. She's like one of the actual kids that like she says like me and my brother are the only actual kids
Samantha
of death. Yeah,
Sloyan?
Samantha Sloan. Yeah,
Sloan? Oh,
yes, met her.
she's great.
She's insane. She's an insane actress, like probably one of the best. But that scene where like she's kind of on stage presenting and then she's seeing Carla Gugino like almost being her and then she like kicks the speaker onto her dad's wife and it like hits her in the face. I was laughing so hard at that scene. That's like the
Oh,
funniest. It's like one of the only funny parts. Oh, the show
right.
is funny, but I was laughing out loud.
Well, cause like his poor wife, like
She's so nice.
she's so nice, and everybody just shits on her, and just it's
Yeah.
just horrible to her, and then
And
that
she's
happens to
disabled and like was like an addict and she has such like a good like outlook on life and she's not like a gold digger or anything. It's so
right.
funny and they just shit on her. They're so mean to her. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
but yeah,
No,
those
he's great. He's amazing.
yeah, like everybody's fallen in love with his stuff. He's just, and then he uses a lot of the same actors in all of his TV shows and films and stuff, and it's so good. It's so good. It's like, why not? Like if they, it's weird. It's weird, but it's also like if you watch the whole thing, you buy it, right? You buy it that they're different and that they're another character altogether. But for me, it was
Yeah.
hard initially going from Haunting of Hill House to this because it's these same people that they're like, no, that's not how they are. They're different people.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is weird like that. But then when you think about what Hollywood does is they just cast the same 10 people in everything. So it's
Right.
like, God, at least he's giving 50 new people a job. You know what I mean? Like, at least I don't have to
Right.
look at Tom Holland anymore. Like, no offense. There's nothing wrong with him, but he's just, I see him too much. So yeah, it is nice at least that like a lot of these people are unknown. And
Right.
I will say like Doctor Sleep is probably, or like his movies, he kind of switches
Mm-hmm.
up actors, but he's coming out with something new. Matthew Lillard's gonna be in it. Matthew Lillard from Scream, and I'm so excited.
I did get to meet Matthew Lillard, not at any kind of con. I met
Mm-hmm.
him at an airport in Texas randomly. He just, this was like back in 2002. This was a long time ago. And he literally like sat right next to me at the airport, and I was like, "Oh, hey." And me and my
he's
brother got a picture with him. He was super cool. He was so nice to
yeah,
us, and like, yeah, just a super super cool guy.
yeah, he's a big horror guy, and he's yeah. I mean, I was kind of next to his booth the whole time at um Fan Expo Denver, so I could just like hear him the whole time. Oh my God, he like we were like the only two lines who stayed late because there were so many people in line, and he was like, "I'm not leaving." He was like, I'm not gonna leave. He's like, all these people waited in line for hours. He's like, every single person in line, like I'll stay till 10 p.m. tonight to sign everything. And I was like,
That's so
oh,
cool.
yeah, it's like he's making money, but it's also so nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love it when the actors end up being cool like that. I mean, obviously they're not all going to be like that, but when you do have those stories of people who care that they're not just there for the money, they're there to fulfill somebody's dream, because that's a thing. Like these people are icons to so many, and their characters are so memorable that you it's a great feeling, I guess, for both of them, to fulfill
yeah,
your dream, but also to like, because that's the thing that I heard. One of the big things about all these actors when they go to these cons, one of the big things that they always say is that it's good to go to these because it's not like a play where there's an audience, right? So when you make the film, you don't know how many people are actually loving it or watching it, right? Until they
Yeah.
show up at these cons, and then they tell you how their films like change your life or whatever, right? Like,
Yeah. And I
so
would agree with that because even them just being like, even just for example, your experience with Matthew Lillard, like, how is he going to know that you're like a genuine fan? Everyone's going
right,
to ask for a picture. I would do that with people who I'm not even a fan of. I think that that's cool to, someone sits next to you. It's like, can I just grab a picture? But with these things, it's like people pay to kind of
right,
go and like see you specifically. Or, they wait in line for hours, or like they're wearing your stuff, or they're dressed like you. Like everyone in like Sydney's line was like dressed like her, or like Casey Becker, like Drew Barrymore, or just like had, like an old VHS screen that they wanted her to sign. Like really just kind of like genuine stuff that it's obvious that they were fans. And I'm not kidding, every single person in line. So it was clear that a lot of people had gone there for the Scream cast, even though there
yeah.
was a million other things to do at Fan Expo. They had gone there for them, which is
Well,
awesome.
yeah, and I think the big thing was that they hadn't all been together for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Like that many of them. Like there's been a
It
couple
was,
here or there, and what was his what's his name? Fonz.
yeah. He was there.
Um
Yeah. Henry Winkler.
Henry Winkler. God, that guy. So I went to his panel, and that guy puts on a show. Like he didn't need a person to like introduce him or any of that. Like he ran it. Like I've never seen somebody run a panel so well. Like he would answer everybody's question back and forth, concise, like very specific. It wasn't a yes no answer. It was very well thought out, but he was moving like at a really good pace. And I was like, dude, like how, like, wow, like blew me away. I was so surprised. I'm like, this guy, like you could tell that he cares, and you could tell that he wanted people
Exactly.
to, he was there for them,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because then like someone who didn't want to be there would just do like yes, no stuff. But yeah,
Right.
and he has a lot of energy too. So
Yeah. I
you
was
can
surprised.
feel like the bubble as you walk by.
Right. I was like, dude, you're like 70 something years old, like, and you're just running around like a kid. This is
I know.
crazy.
Yeah, Fan
But
Expo was. I was really shocked at the level of fame in that room. It was like the most famous people you can think of all down an aisle, and like
yeah.
50 to 100 of them. I didn't really understand what I was going into, so it was very shocking.
That's cool.
But
I'm so glad
yeah,
you got to do that, because it last year was a very big year. Like there were a lot of big guests there, and the fact that you got to meet some of them and be in the room with them and all that, like, I mean, that's,
yeah.
is there anybody you'd like to meet that you haven't yet in the
Well,
horror
so
community?
I mean, I got a picture with Nev Campbell and Rose McGowan, which I think I said. I kind of met Matthew Lillard. So those are like Scream people, I guess. God, I've met Mike Flanagan, which really he's like really one of my favorite. I mean, I'm trying to think. God, let me look through my little list real quick. See if there's anyone that pops up.
Like for me, I think
Yeah, tell
meeting,
me yours.
um, I mean, like Wes Craven would be cool. Honestly, my favorite
Yeah.
probably, let's see here. Um, I know who I want to meet.
You
So
said you know?
yeah. So, let's see. Hold on. Do, do, do. John Carpenter. That would be my number one.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
just because I just love so many of his movies, and the way he just, he's done so many awesome things, and not just horror. Yeah, you know, like Big Trouble in Little China. I don't know if you've ever seen that one, but it's like
I
a
have. I've seen like parts, but not the whole thing.
it's crazy. It's a great one though. Or
Yeah.
Starman. Have you ever heard of that one? It's
Never heard of that.
basically Jeff Bridges he's like an alien comes down and takes the form of Jeff Bridges, which is this woman's this his this lady her husband died, and it was Jeff
Mhm.
Bridges, and he takes his form, and basically he's trying to get back to his people, and it's a very um dramatic story, and but it's not necessarily what you would think of his work. That's why
Kind
I
of sounds
like it so
sad
much.
almost.
Yeah, it really is. Like it's sad, but it's kind of like almost like ET, but like for adults.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like
E.T.
that,
like, yeah.
right?
I'm
Yeah,
assuming she. I mean, I don't want to ruin it for myself, but I'm assuming she like runs into her dead husband and is like, "Who are you?"
yeah. That's
Oh
yeah, and
no.
she freaks out. It's from it's let me get her name because I always forget her name and I shouldn't. It's Karen Allen. So she was on the original Indiana Jones movie. The love interest in that. She's been in a
Yeah.
lot of movies, but yeah.
I would know if I
Uh,
saw her, but I just
oh
can't think
yeah.
of it off the top of my head.
So what did you come
Um,
up with?
I don't know. I don't think I really came up with anything.
You don't have to. I think
I know. I'm sorry.
no, that don't be sorry. Like I think what's fun is if you do these festivals and you do these cons more, I feel like you'll find people that you love that you had no idea that you loved them, right?
Exactly. And like, or
Like
like you'll meet people and you'll be like, that was cool. And then you'll look at their kind of like IMDb and be like, this person, not even like, oh, that was so cool that I met a famous person, but like, this person has lived such a rich life.
right.
Like, everything they've done is just amazing and must have been so fun because like for example with Kirk, it's like yeah maybe like he wasn't like an actor and everything, but just to be on set and like to have been so close to Jim Henson
Yeah.
is a rich enough life in itself. So whereas like a lot of people are like oh well they weren't like an actor, it's like but can you imagine being on that set or knowing that
Yeah.
person? I mean that's kind of how I think about it. So
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
people, it's crazy. It's so, and that's kind of like how it was with Kirk. I was like, I
Oh
didn't even
yeah.
know all the stuff that you've done, but it's awesome.
Yeah. No, I think going forward, I think for both of us, that's kind of a passion, right? To connect with these people and to learn more as we go along and just to become bigger fans, right? Of just anything, horror especially, but just all of the people and I think and I've mentioned this a lot on the podcast that a lot of the horror community is just it's good people, right? Most of the horror
Yeah.
community, for the most part, the people are just genuine, and you know they're and the fans are passionate, and the filmmakers are passionate, and they're all in for these awesome films, and they're all just trying to have fun, right? In
Yeah.
the end of
And
the
that's,
day,
yeah. And like, I would say like the sweetest, most genuine people, like just genuinely excited out of kind of all the things that I've done film wise in the last almost year have been at Colorado Festival of Horror and then standing in line to meet Sydney from Scream. They're
yeah,
just so excited. Whereas like I've done other film festivals and it's just different. It's just a different vibe. You maybe go with an expectation, but yeah, the people who like horror films, I feel like are so they're just so nice and they're just
yeah,
happy to be there.
and their costumes are amazing. Like that's the other thing. I love just people watching all of the things.
I know, so talented. Fan Expo Denver was really fun for that specific reason.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this must have taken so much time to build,
Oh yeah,
but it's amazing.
yeah. Well, we are getting close to. Well, we're past our time, but
Oh
it's
God.
okay. No, this was great. This went by super fast, and like there's so many things we could have covered, and I think talking about film festivals, filmmaking, and horror is kind of what this podcast is all about. And I'm just so happy that you share in that, though, that love for all things filmmaking, horror, and just the festivals and just the community, right? That's what it's about. And you know, I'm just glad to know you. Like it's cool. It's fun.
I know I feel the same way. You're like, I have a podcast. You're like, it's all about like scary stuff. I'm like, this is perfect. I'm like, oh my God, finally. Like, finally meeting someone in Denver that like does cool film stuff, who likes scary stuff. So who's normal? No, I'm kidding. But yeah,
Mostly.
yeah. No, but it was, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I met you, but I'm so happy that I saw you again at Dariel's because
Yeah,
I just don't know if I would have run into you.
I
You know what I mean?
know.
Anymore. So it was meant to be. It was perfect timing. It was great. I'm so happy that we got to do this. And
So
I
yeah,
hope.
so
Wait, before we go, what's the scary movie that you hated? You thought it was the worst scary movie ever. It could be an unpopular opinion.
ooh, the worst. Hmm. Oh wow. Um, I didn't like. So unpopular opinion. I would say, like Halloween, like the first one I really liked,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't really like a lot of the other ones just because it's recycling a lot of the same stuff. And so for me, it's like you've seen one, you've seen them all. That's how I
Yeah,
feel about that franchise. But the first one obviously is good. And I just talked about John Carpenter. He's amazing, and that was his movie. And so for me, like I'd much rather watch A Nightmare on Elm Street with Freddy than that series than the Halloween one. So that's kind of what it is for me.
yeah. I'm a big
What,
fan of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and there's this lady named Kyle Richards on it, and she actually played the little girl in Halloween one, right? So she like
really?
yeah, so she like knows she's just a child actress, and then she's on Real Housewives now. But so she knows like Jamie Lee Curtis still. They're still friends to this day, and she's actually just she played herself again in like the most recent one, like that same child. And I was like, this is so weird watching Kyle from my reality show. But yeah, I think you're right. I watched the little clip that she was in with Michael Myers, and it seemed I was like, how many of these are there? Because I've only seen the first one. First one was great, but it seems like
Yeah,
they could
and
stop.
I right, and people I'm sure, and there are diehards. Like I know a lot of people who love the Halloween series, and that's fine. I mean, it's love what you love, that kind of thing. Like don't tell I'm not going to be the one to tell them that you shouldn't like this. I'm like, no, if you love it, like that's awesome. If you can find something that strikes that chord, like more power to you. And I'll try to give it more of a chance, especially if there's like a particular one that isn't the first one that you like, because I'm always kind of like, well, if they're all pretty similar, which one stands out other than the first, and kind of go after
Yeah,
it, because I'm all for it. Like I don't want to just shut it down just because I'm not a huge fan of it. I want to explore it a little bit more, right?
yeah, and yeah, exactly what you said. I don't care what your answer is as long as you have an opinion on it. Like it can be my least favorite movie ever, but if you like it and you can tell me why, then your opinion is valid.
Yeah. Even if it's not a great movie, like
Yeah,
Velocipaster.
exactly. Exactly. I'm going to come back to you and be like, that was the best movie I've ever seen. What are you talking about?
Right. And I'm going to be like, okay.
Like, all right.
Oh, wow. So this is the time of the podcast where I ask you, is there any shout outs that you'd like to make, or is there anything you're working on, or anything people should look out for, or um, anything that you would like to mention?
I don't really have anything.
Or any
I'm
film that people should watch that maybe they haven't yet?
I guess I mean this one is something that I feel like a lot of people have seen. If you haven't seen The Descent, go see that. It's really good. It's kind of old. There's two of them. It's great. But I kind of really already like the one that I am very passionate about that I think you need to watch, but it's on Netflix and not everyone has it, is Midnight Mass. It's a show. Don't You can watch a trailer. It's not going to give anything away, which is a very powerful trailer. But yeah, it's great. It's amazing. I usually can kind of guess where a movie or show is going. This one had me shocked the entire time. It's great. It's my favorite. It's my favorite thing ever, like right now.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining. And yeah, I can't wait for us to meet up again and do some more stuff at festivals, or maybe even make another film or something together. I think that'll be awesome.
Me too. This is so fun. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.